Hey guys, this is Anthony with Last Chance Bait and Tackle, Tackle.com. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Tonight's Periscope, I'd kind of really like to get into what's going on with all this rising water, with all this bait and all this fry that's going to be hiding in these trees. Kind of want to give you guys a heads up on a bite that's here, and if it's not here in your area, it's coming soon. And that's the buzzbait bite. With all this rising water, and it's awesome that we're getting this water coming in, it's submerging a lot of cover in a lot of trees. So that's an absolutely awesome thing when it comes to our fry. A lot of the local lakes, because we were so low, our spawns kind of sucked because there was no area for this bait to go, nor to hide. So they just get gorged upon by everything swimming by. Now with the water rising up, all these trees, tobacco brush, tumbleweeds, everything in the water, all this fry is a place to hide now. But it kind of makes it hard for an angler to come through, kind of dissect and hit those little areas. What I like to do, like I said, throw a buzzbait. It's something that you can cover a lot of water with, stir up a lot of commotion, and catch really decent sized fish on it. And on the market, there's a wide variety of buzzbaits. I mean, there's double buzz, there's plastic buzz, the way they're angled, the colors, all that good stuff. You can just go in through it and just wreck your mind by how much there is. So what I'd like to do, dwindle it down a little bit and kind of show you some key little things I look for and the way I approach to do it. Like I was saying, on the market, wide variety. What I like to do is figure out what's going on. Like I've been saying before and saying all the time, I'm a firm believer of matching the hatch. If I know that there's fry in the trees, odds are there's going to be baby bass, there's going to be bluegill, there's going to be some sort of predatory fish that's going to be trying to feed on those smaller bait fish. And it's a life cycle. I mean, it's what happens. Bigger fish eat smaller fish. So what I do is, if I know there's small fish up in there, I'm going to start off right off the bat with a baby bluegill or a baby bass imitator as far as a buzzbait. Right when that happens, one of my favorites right out of the box is the Demiki. This little guy right here, it's called the Noisy MTB, I believe is what it is. This little guy right here is absolutely awesome. It's got a metal blade on it. The color is what sold me. I've been throwing a lot of their spinner baits. That green pumpkin chartreuse skirt. I am a huge fan of chartreuse. Clear water, stained water, it doesn't matter. I love the chartreuse skirt. To me, it's confidence. It imitates a bluegill. It imitates a baby bass. It's something that these fish put off when they're smaller or when they're shocked or scared. That's when I start to go for it. And with a lot of these blades, there's different configurations and all that good stuff. Some come with clackers, some come without. When I'm fishing open water, and if I'm looking on schooling fish, I'll go with a clacker. Something to get that blade to stop and to clack different. Puts a little bit different kink in it, gets that fish a little subtle difference or a little hiccup for him to come up and register that it's something working on the surface, working baits. If I'm fishing around trees, that type of stuff, odds are I'm going to tick this blade or these baits off some sort of cover. I'm going to come through and it's going to have trees. I'm going to nick those blades. I'm going to tick that type of cover with these style baits. And when I do that, I won't run a knocker because the brush and all the other debris that's in the water is going to knock that blade for me. Granted, you get that added clack with that knocker, but my thinking is it coming through the trees, you're going to get that blade to hiccup, you're going to get it to flare out, do all that type of stuff through the trees. So remember, at least for me, open water, I prefer a clacker. Get something more sporadic, a little bit something different. Close into cover, I'll go without, straight clackers. Now that being said, if you're fishing open water, that type of stuff, I like to go 3/8 to ½ ounce. I don't really like going anything heavier. Because you are riding these baits on the surface, I like to go as light as I can, but heavy enough that I'm going to get the distance on the cast. These little guys, wide variety of sizes. Like I said, I stick with 3/8 to ½ ounce. I like something with a beveled head, something that's more rounded, acts like a little keel, will get it to rise higher up in that water column and stay better on the surface. Different baits on the market. One that comes with a flat head would be the Pro Line by Phoenix. My rod's over there. So what I'll do is I'll just crack open this one. This guy right here, if you look at the way his head's designed, it's more of a heart shape. More heart shape, but it's real flat. And the way he angles that bill, That gets this bait to, once it hits the water, it comes right up to cover and planes right off that head. Looks really nice coming through the water. Wide variety of colors through them. Like I said, if I'm going bluegill, if I'm going baby bass, something like that, majority of these baits are going to come in chartreuse. They're going to come in shad. They're going to come in those style patterns. So I'll take this skirt off, and I'll add a chartreuse or an HR gill, something, just because we have a wide variety of material and all that stuff here. I'll go with something to imitate more of a bluegill. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of that chartreuse. This company right here makes some nice little skirts. I believe they are
Fat Sack Tackle.
Fat Sack Tackle, there we go. Make a wide variety of skirts, a bunch of different colors. These little guys right here, as far as being confident and giving you that extra little edge, I'll upgrade my skirts and go with this one right here. It's got chartreuse and orange for the belly, more of that green pumpkin purple copper, which has always been a good bluegill imitator. Skirt-wise, this is what you pair it up with. And now, you don't have to run a trailer if you don't want to on these baits. I see guys that do. I like running them without a trailer. I think my hookup ratio is a little bit better. But I get guys that want to slow down, want more of a bait fish profile on the surface, so they're going to run a little trailer. They're going to run like a little Kitech Swing Impact, or they're going to run like a little net bait or a skinny dipper or something like that. By all means, that's awesome. Gives a little bit extra bulk to it. Looks a little bit more natural. Even though you do have this big old blade blaring off the front of this bait, they're still only seeing that. They see all that commotion, it's just ripple on the surface. That could be that bait fish chasing all that smaller bait cruising through the surface. So they only really see that. If you want to bulk it out, by all means, go with a Kitech trailer, something like that.
Somebody was asking about trailers.
Adds a little bit of bulk. What I like, though, is I don't like going too big, because the more weight you add to these things, the faster you're going to have to fish it, the higher your rod tip's going to have to be, because you're adding more weight, it's going to sink out faster. That's why I personally don't like running trailers. I have an issue as it is, trying to keep them up on the surface. That's why I like 3/8, half ounce, real lightweight. Match my skirts, try to match the bait that's getting chased, that type of stuff. Great little bait combinations, awesome little skirts, a wide variety of things that you can do with them. If you're going through an area, you got your buzzbait set up, you got it tied on, first thing you're going to do, where am I going to fish it? What am I looking for? How am I going to approach what to do, pretty much? Odds are, is what key things I look for stick-ups. I look for submerged trees. I look for break-up areas along the shoreline where it's going to have stick-ups. It's going to have random sections of brush, stuff that I can see that looks kind of like a little path where fish are going to be on the outside, but I don't want too thick a cover to where my blade's not going to come through. If you're going to go that, then you put on a horny toad. You put on a soft plastic version of the bait that does the same thing. We can elaborate that in another little Periscope, get more in detail with the soft plastic version of the buzzbait. But right now, with tonight, just wanted to give you guys a heads up on some of the metal ones, some of the different blades, some of the different props, some of the different colors, that type of stuff. So if, like I said, you're cruising to a lake, you're trying to figure out what's going on, look at the shoreline. If you see any small ripples on the shoreline, right up tight on the bank, that's where I'm casting. If you see any ripple or that big fry balls on the outsides of trees or covered real tight to trees, that's where I'm talking about nicking those blades off those tree branches. If you're coming through an area and you see a bunch of stick-ups like this, you burn along the outside, nothing happens. You burn along this side, nothing happens. But while you're burning it, you don't see any bait fish jumping around, doing any of that stuff. Fishing in the wrong area. You're wanting this bait to look like it's chasing fry. It's chasing smaller bait, getting fired up, which gets these bigger fish fired up to eat that. That's why I like the buzzbait. The strikes on them are fierce. What you can do with them is awesome. Color combinations are incredible. It's just up to you on where you want to fish them, how you want to fish them. Like I said, I start looking for the subtle things. I start looking for bait. If I see bait on the outsides of trees, that's where I'm going to be throwing. But I want this bait to be in an area, when I'm fishing it, I'm seeing small bait fish sputter out of its way. That's when you know you're in that right zone. If you're out there burning it and you're not seeing bait fish, you're not seeing stuff move or being scared, You might catch a fish here and there, but it's going to be one of those solo cruisers, more or less looking for those guys that are on the outskirts. I want those guys that are either fry garden or eating fry. I want those guys tucked up in the cover. I want that fierce strike through the cover. I want that big blow up, all that stuff. I want them pissed off. That's why I'm going to throw something like this through the trees, through the cover. I'm going to nick it off branches. If you're around docks, you got fry stuck on the bottom of the docks. Throw this guy parallel to the docks. Get that blade to sit there and nick the corner of the docks. That's going to create a strike right there. That's something where that little fish is pushing all that bait up into something hard. Fish don't have mouths. They can't come up and inspect something and poke at it, touch it, that type of stuff. A lot of times when you're throwing stuff like this, it's a reaction strike. Like I said, they don't have mouths. They can't come up and touch it. They're going to come up and feel it with their mouth. That's how they sense stuff. That's how they register what's real, what's not, what's edible, what's not. They're going to come up and feel it. They're going to come up and sense it. If you're getting a lot of those little blow-up splashes behind it, you're seeing them come up, swoosh, swoosh, but you're not hooking up, that's where I opt for a trailer hook. Just a little something different, something a little subtle that's going to make a big, huge difference overall. Like I said, you see them come up and they're nipping at it, come up and nipping at it, and they're not staying pinned, run a trailer hook. Odds are those are fry garters or some sort of a fish that's getting pissed off. He's not eating it, he's pushing it out of his way, or he doesn't want it in there. So he's nipping at the back of the skirt, more or less trying to move that bluegill out of his way, trying to spook it out of its way. By running a stinger hook right off the back half of it, that fish comes up to nip it now, just like a spinnerbait. Comes up to nip it, he's going to get hooked. Might have been an aggressive strike, might have been a scared reaction strike, or it could be a feeding strike. But you're increasing your odds now by adding a stinger hook off the back. Little things like that, changing up the skirt color, adding a stinger hook, stuff like that, makes a huge difference. But, go ahead.
Can you run down colors one more time?
Okay. When you're fishing, let's just say bluegill, baby bass, stuff like that. A lot of these bait companies, Molix, Booyah, Picasso, all these companies, brain farting for you guys, it's been a long day. All these companies make a lot of good shad colors. A lot of more natural bait fish, whites, blues, chartreuses, stuff like that. By all means, that's cool. But if your area doesn't have those colors or doesn't have those bait fish, shad, stuff like that, I opt, go out and buy a new skirt. Go buy new skirt material. Get something that's going to match. I love green pumpkins. I love chartreuse. To me, that's one of the best bluegill imitators, is something with chartreuse. It's just confidence for me. 90% of my bluegill baits have chartreuse on them. I think it's something that these little guys emit when they're fired up, when they're scared, that type of stuff. Demiki, like I was showing you guys earlier, they already come with a chartreuse and green pumpkin skirt. That's why I started picking up this bait. I love the colors. Their spinner baits are the same thing. Absolutely awesome colors. Paris-wise, this thing gets tore up. Same with the spinner bait. Something about that chartreuse and green pumpkin skirt fires up these fish. Looks more natural, like a bluegill chasing fry. So remember, baby bass, bluegill, watermelons, green pumpkins, stuff like that for the skirt. The head color doesn't honestly matter. I mean, if you wanted to, like the Phoenix, white, blue, that's all they really see is the white. Odds are is majority of these fish are going to have a white belly, something white under their chin. Bigger bluegill, we call them copper nose and all this stuff, they get real copper whitish flake all through their cheeks and their gills. That's not going to make a difference. What's going to make a difference for me is this bulk material. That's why I go with watermelons. I go with green pumpkins, something like an HR gill, something like a bluegill pattern, something like that. Watermelons, green pumpkins, and you're going to be set. But if you do have crappie, you do have stuff like that that is taking place and is feeding on fry, stick with your natural colors, your whites, your blues, your blacks, stuff like that. You'll have no issues. If you're fishing stained water, they make colors like this, really, really bright. Awesome chartreuse. They make oranges, they make reds, they make all different types of colors. Match the hatch on where you're fishing and what you're going for. Think like a predatory fish. Don't try to sit there and just pick a random color, go out there and hope for the best. Put in some time, put in some work. Sit back, think if bluegill are eating, or if baby bass are eating, or if you got gizzard shad chasing, or something like that. Do your research. Sit back and look at things for a bit. Don't just pick up a bait, no, it looks cool, and go out and throw it. I mean, it might work, but just spend some time, figure out what you're trying to imitate, and then go with that. Match your hatch, go with the colors that you have, and the more natural colors, and you should do good.
And yes, somebody had mentioned Phoenix skirts. We carry fat sackle as well as Phoenix skirts.
Yes.
Phoenix we carry bulk, so you can buy just individual onesies.
Yeah, 1s and 2s. The fat sacks comes in 3 packs. And I believe we have Strike King, we have Punch Skirts by Paycheck, we have Johnny C's skirts, we have Terminator skirts, Strike King. So we have a wide variety of colors, living rubbers, I mean, a lot of different skirt materials to flare up different ways and to do different things. Me, I try to keep it basic, match the hatch, watermelons, green pumpkins, maybe a little bit of chartreuse if I'm trying to go bluegill. Keep it like that, and you're going to do really good. Because you are throwing it, before I forget, because you are throwing this in the thick of the thick, or parallel in the thick, heavy cover, I fish straight braid. I will go straight braid right to them. I'll do a 6-turn uni knot, something small and sleek, holds really strong, but I'll do a 6-turn uni knot right to the tip of my bait, and I leave it just like that. Just for the fact that I can throw this in the trees now. I can throw it in the grass. I can throw it through tumbleweeds and stuff like that. Granted, the bait's going to get hung up. The blades might collect some debris, but I'm not breaking off. I'm ripping that right through cover. I'll take off all my cover, fire it back in there. I'm going through trees. I'm going around hard cover like that. I don't want mono. I don't want fluorocarbon. I don't want anything that's going to stretch or fray and have a chance to break. I want something as soon as I see this thing go under, I can jack their jaws and cross their eyes. I want to run straight braid, 50 pounds, 65 pounds, something heavy. You're not going to worry about the line size. This bait is moving so fast across the surface, they're not going to care. They're not going to sit back and look at it and look 4 feet in front of it and look at it again and go, nah, I think there's a string pulling it. They're not going to care. They're more pissed off that this thing is in their area and making a big, huge commotion, just kicking up, spitting, doing all that stuff. They're not going to care. Go straight braid. Get your baits back. Get these fish out of cover. Because where you are fishing it, they're going to bulldog you in trees. Have it happen all the time. You're running above submerged trees, doing your normal thing, popping your rod every now and then, getting those blades to clear. Fish comes up, put you right down into a tree. Mono, fluorocarbon, stuff like that, you got a good shot at pulling that guy out. Odds are it might stretch and break. You go braid, that guy hits it, you jack his jaw, and you horse that guy in. Try to pump him in as hard as you can. You have one single barb. You're not worried about treble hooks. You're not worried about light split rings, nothing like that. You are tying straight braid, no stretch, direct to a piece of wire with no stretch. Get these guys in. If you got to bend this out, you bend them out. They do break over time. Fish will bend them, do that type of stuff. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. You get some really fierce, just hellacious strikes on these type of guys. It's just one of those things. By fishing straight braid, because it floats, it gets that bait to rise a lot better and to stay on the surface a lot better. You go fluorocarbon or mono, the minute you stop or you slow down, your line now is sinking, which gets this bait to submerge. It's not doing what it needs to do. Straight braid, 6-turn uni knot, Palomar knot, whatever you guys are comfy with, tie straight right to it, just like you'd fish a spinnerbait or something like that. Straight to it, work it through the trees, work it through the cover, work it on the outsides of where you guys would throw frogs, stuff like that. But like I said, the key thing is you want to see that bait fish out there spitting around. You want to see it kicking up something. You want to see it look like it's searching, look like it's going for the smaller bait, that type of stuff. By fishing those ways, those styles, and matching your colors, I mean, I've seen guys like Kevin Matson just stick giants on these. Granted, I haven't got anything beastly. 6 pounds is about the biggest, but it is just super fun. I mean, it's one of those, 1s and 2s are going to eat it. Those are be your average fry garters. Those are going to be the little young bucks swimming around. Still a blast to catch. But that big female could be sitting on the outside too. That male could be bothered with something else and not see it. That female can come up and just destroy it. That guy is caught in some huge fish. What opens up my eyes that this isn't just a little bait search tool. This can catch some true giants. Matt and I joke about it all the time. Elephants eat peanuts. This is a nice little peanut right here. I mean, That right there. Nice little bulky bait. That comes up, little bluegill, little baby bass. They're going to crush this. I don't care if it's a 1 pound bass or a double digit. If it's in their area and they're pissed off, this is a great little search tool. They're going to come up and crush it. Like I said in the beginning, because there is a wide variety of blades, wide variety of skirt colors, combinations, and stuff like that, Picasso makes double blade and single blades. If you're fishing extremely stained water and you want a lot of commotion, you go with a double blade. Both these blades are spinning. Sometimes they'll clack together, create that little disruption, get that thing to hiccup, run straight, hiccup again, run straight, puts off a lot of commotion. This, to me, is a true stained water, copper brown type scenario. Or at night. A lot of guys, night tournament wise and stuff like that, will opt for a double blade. But they'll run black, put on a bigger profile. They'll have black blades, stuff like that. This, when you go double blade, just puts off a tremendous amount of just disruption on the surface. Absolutely awesome when you really want to stir some stuff up. Me personally, haven't had too much luck on double blades. Besides at night, I get swatted at a lot and stuff like that. I opt for a single blade just because I think I can fish it a little bit faster. That's just me. But we have guys come in day out. When this bite is on, you'll see the double blades flying off the shelf. Havasu, the Delta, stuff like that. Guys opt for these all the time. And just remember, Picasso double blades, they call them the dinner bell. Those things are awesome. Tons and tons of commotion on the surface. It's just something that you're going to have to get confidence in. So I said, there's double blades, there's single blades. Phoenix makes articulated blades, blades that move, different styles. I mean, you have plastic blades, which I won't show the plastic blade one. Don't have any right now. But plastic blade for clear conditions, more subtle presentation, puts off a small bubble trail. You don't have all that loud just out at diamond. That bait works absolutely awesome. It's a little bit more subtle presentation, more for that clear water. Excuse me. More for that clear water bite to where these fish actually have some time to sit there and analyze it and they don't want all that flash. Phoenix makes a clear blade by the Pro Lines. Clear blade has a little bit of sparkle in it. Imitates, it could be a school of silversides now coming across the surface, and this little guy underneath is trying to sit there and think he's all kinds of studly working that bait. Not caring about that 7-8 pounder sitting underneath and watching him going, this little guy's dumb. I'm going to crush him. That's the cool thing with these baits. You never know what you're going to catch. You're out there making up all kinds of commotion. It's just fun to watch these things. You're out there, you're throwing it, it's kicking up all this bait. You're, wham! Big old bucket mouth comes up and slams it. That's the cool thing and the drawing power behind these baits. Like I said, match the colors, match your hatch. If you want to run trailers, if you want to go bluegill, Kitech makes swing impacts. This is called their sungill. There again, more of that chartreuse to the belly, green pumpkin for the back, has some flake in it. Me thinking, this is an absolutely awesome bluegill imitator. I would pair it up with that HR gill skirt. Matches up real nice. Pair that guy up with a Phoenix. Cut this skirt off. Pair that guy up like this. Now you have yourself a little bluegill. He's sitting there working those baits. Something really cool.
John's asking you to have him set up some for Diamond when it opens.
That's another thing. Once Diamond opens, this is going to be a phenomenal bite. We have so much cover and so much forage that's going to be in that cover. You guys are going to be trying to wrap your heads around ways to get them out. Look at Buzzbaits. Start off with this. This is a good search tool, but it is one of those that blows out spots. It's like a whopper plopper almost. You can only cast it 3 or 4 times down one certain stretch of bank or at one certain type of cover before every fish in that little area knows what came by. So it's one of those that you got to be real target specific when you cast them. You got to be as point on as you can to increase your odds. Because there is a lot of commotion, you are working it a long way, it puts up a lot of disturbance, everything's going to know that it's there.
Matt just joined and he said he didn't know if he missed it, but I don't think you covered it yet. What you throw as a follow-up bait.
Oh, okay. That right there, say you're burning it, you get that big swirl behind it, you either got a buddy on the boat or you got a rod sitting next to you, I'll flip a Senko. Love flipping a wacky rig Senko just for the fact that fish came up, swirled on that bait, he missed it, he's still fired up. He's still in that general area pissed off. You throw in a wacky rig Senko, something like that, make it look like that bait fish that he just blew up on got disorientated and it's slowly falling down, odds are is that fish is going to come back and commit to that bait. It's nothing that it's guaranteed, but it is a good follow-up bait. You can flip jerk baits, you can throw Senkos, Ikas, all that type of stuff. I like the Ika or Senko just because it's easy to flip and I can skip it under cover and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind too, even though it is a little tricky. Have a spinning rod or a bait caster set up on the deck of the boat, unclipped with your bait resting in the water. If you do get a blow up and he misses, fire a Senko in there. Fire something weightless to get that fish fired up. Even a fluke. Fluke would be absolutely phenomenal. You get blown up, fire a baby bass fluke or a bluegill fluke. Start twitching it and let it fall out. Odds are is that big fish crushed him. He didn't get him initially, but he disorientated whatever bait fish was around. He's going to come back and pick those up. So yeah, definitely keep those in mind. Matt is really good with that. That's something I'm still not hand coordinated enough to get excited when I see a blow up and then pick that up. It only happens on a great while, but it does work great. Rod choice, completely up to you. If you're fishing it like a spinnerbait, I like a stiff rod. Because you are dealing with one single jig hook and not multi-treble hooks and light wires and stuff like that, I opt for a little stout rod. I like fishing a 700XH by Phoenix or a 76H by Dobbins, something with a lot of backbone in it but a soft tip. Because these baits are 3/8, half ounce, that type of stuff. When you do put the skirt and material on them, it's not really weighing that much. You're doing a lot of flip casts, you're pitching them in and out of rocks, you're fishing around stumps, that type of stuff. Odds are you're not going to want an 8-foot stick for it. Unless you're fishing main lake points, complete open areas where you just have stick-ups for as far as you can see, big tapered flats, then you might opt for an 8-foot stick. You might opt for 7/9, something like that, where you can really get that distance. But majority of the time when you're casting, you're paralleling the bank, 10 feet off the bank. You're looking for little aisles and little lanes through these trees with stick-ups that you're going to tick off. You're going through little highways, I should say, through this cover. You're not going to want a big, huge flipping stick or something big gaudy that's slapping the water and hanging on trees and grabbing that other stuff. Like I said, all out for a 7-foot to 7/6 at most. I'm a short guy. I'm pretty close to the water. I got short arms. So I'll start pitching in between trees, that type of stuff. Straight braid, you won't have any issues. Covers a lot of water. Gear ratio-wise, kind of up to you the same. I like 6.3 or 7.3 just for the fact that like frogging, like flipping, all that type of stuff, where you are fishing is thick cover or around thick cover. Once that fish eats this bait, he's putting you in that thick cover. You want him out as fast as you can. You don't want to give him any opportunity to wedge himself, lodge himself in any way to get this bait out and make you look like a fool in front of your buddies thinking you had a good one on. It happens. Faster gear ratio reels, straight braid, small stout rods, that way you can crack them and pull them out of cover, is going to increase the odds best in your favor. Stick with stuff like that and you should do pretty good. One other thing I've been really looking at as far as buzzbaits, like I've been saying, there's tons of them on the market. Mullet's inline, more of that burn style, shad imitator. Revenge makes a good bluegill color with clacker blades and stuff like that. One that since I've been here in the shop, I've been seeing a lot of people pick up, looking at it, questioning it. This guy right here has been, I should say, tickling my fancy for a while. It incorporates an umbrella rig with a buzzbait. So the amount of trailers or the size of trailers you can put on the back of this thing, all up to you. I mean, you can put 7-inch baits, make it look like there's some big baits working some silver sides or shad on the surface. Bend this guy out like you would an umbrella rig. It's California legal. We only have 3 hooks on the back. And with these, just like umbrella rigs, I don't sit here and grab it and just automatically bend it right out of the head. I'm going to take a pair of pliers, I'm going to go about a 1/2 inch out, and then start bending my arms. For this guy right here, I'll bend it. I'm going to pick it up anyways. This thing's been looking at me. What I'm going to do is, because it has 3 blades, I'm going to run 2 facing down. So I'm going to get my pliers, pinch about a 1/2 inch, bend my first arm up. Get your second arm, just like umbrella rigs. Take this guy right here, your second arm, slide down your pliers, 1/2 inch away from the head, bend this arm up. Now you have 2 keel arms. Get that spool so it's not sitting there spinning. Leave this guy in the back. This is your slow, tapered guy that's not keeping up with the school that's sitting there trying to trailer. Odds are this is the one that's going to get hit. If you want to keep it lightweight, 1/8 ounce weights, 1/8 ounce weights, or just 2 1/8 ounce and a worm hook. Texas rig, Little Dipper, or a Kitech or something like that. Put a worm hook in it. Keep this rig light. Think of it like a spinnerbait or a light buzzbait. You're not going to want to add too much weight because it is going to be riding on the surface. But now, since you have these multiple arms, you're not just dealing with one solid bait. You can make it look like an actual bait ball now, or a bunch of pissed off baby bass or bluegill chasing a bunch of silver sides or a bunch of shad.
What is the name of that one again?
This guy right here, it's the Viking Marine Buzzkill 3-wire. We have a bunch of them still in stock. Like I said, it's one that I've been sitting here looking at, haven't picked it up. I don't honestly know what it's going to do. My thinking is just this by itself. It's going to be an umbrella rig buzzbait. I'm going to keep it extremely light. I might run only 1/8 ounce, 2 on the bottom, so I have a 1/4 ounce rig total. Maybe 1/2 ounce, depending on how much I want to put on it. But there again, straight braid, right to it. Baits, all up to you. Little Dippers comes out bullfrog. Phenomenal baby bass imitator. Great little colors. Kitech swing impacts, all that good stuff. Wide variety of baits you can put on this thing. Like I said, I haven't truly tried it myself, but this thing it's been calling my name, especially with this going on, diamond getting water and all this forage. I'm really thinking this guy is going to be key. Just by, you can get a triple hookup now. Imagine that. Bunch of bass just coming up. You get into wolf packs. We've all seen them. You get 2 to 5 pounders coming up 13 to 20 deep. I mean, it does happen. You have one bait. Well, that's cool. You caught one fish. Increase your odds. If they're pissed off, they're eating fry, you see them crushing on baby bass or bluegill down the shoreline, fire this guy down there. Start burning it. One fish comes up, he starts flinging it around, you have 2 other baits. Odds are is another fish, like we all see, they come up and try to pull baits out of their mouth. They're competitive. They see another fish eat another fish, they're going to come up and try to pull that bait out of their mouth. We've seen videos of followers come up and they lose interest until another fish comes up and is like, oh, well, screw you, I'm going to take it. Then the other one gets interested. That's the cool thing about bass, is once one hits it, odds are there's going to be another one coming with it trying to pull that bait out of his mouth or see what the heck he's eating because he wants to get in on the action. Now you have 2 extra baits sitting there flaring around to increase your odds. So keep this in mind. The little Viking Marine 3-arm buzzbait. Bend it out just like that. Almost look like a triangle. Trailers, try to keep this one weightless. This guy might even flare on the surface. Absolutely cool little buzzbait rig.
And all of our buzzbaits are online. Unfortunately, I'm not sure with that one since it doesn't have a package. If you can't find it online, you can give us a call here at the shop tomorrow.
Yes, definitely give us a call. All these baits that I'm showing you right now are all on our website. They're in store. Matt is another phenomenal guy when it comes to buzzbaits. I'm sure I didn't elaborate on a lot of key stuff because he's kind of showed me how to throw the buzzbait. Guy's a whiz when it comes to it. He's got a lot of tricks and stuff like that. So by all means, call the shop, cruise in, pick his brain, pick my brain. We'll go out there and we'll try to help you catch fish. And hopefully with this, get you a giant. This right here, super fun. Anything topwater, super fun. Anytime you can watch a big old bass come up and crush the surface, absolutely fun. Just keep these in mind. You got small bait on the shoreline. You got small bait stuck up in the trees. You want some commotion. You want an aggressive strike. Pick up a buzzbait. Phoenix, Booyah, Revenge, Love It, or the Molix. I mean, there's so many out there. Just get one that matches your forage, matches your situation. Clear water, opt for a clear blade. Try not to go with a knocker. Stained water, go with a more chrome blade. Go with something with a knocker. Go with something that's going to put on a lot more commotion and let these fish know where it's at. Like I said, straight braid, no issues whatsoever. These fish aren't going to care that you have straight braid tied to it, just like a frog or a horny toad. Light sticks, 7 foot, 7'6". somewhere in between there. I like extra heavy and heavies. That's just me. I like cracking these fish when I see them come up. Keep these in mind. Keep a couple of these small baits in mind. By all means, like I said, cruise in. This isn't everything. This is just scratching the surface, kind of get you guys a little heads up what's coming around, what's going off. There's going to be all kinds of other baits that are going to work. Something about the buzz baits this time of year is key, and you're not going to see a lot of people throwing them. So tonight, just wanted to give you guys a quick heads up. I said tons and tons of different baits, tons of different styles. Fit what goes with you, and if you're not sure your areas, by all means, give me or Matt a call. Cruise in the shop. We'll dissect your water with you. We'll go through some different baits, through some different colors, and we'll definitely set you up. Thank you guys very much. Much appreciated in joining in tonight. Sorry it was a little short. Sorry we started a little late. Had some customers in the shop. Like I said, Last Chance Tackle.com. Last Chance Bait and Tackle here in Hemet, California. By all means, cruise in the shop. Give us a call. Pick our brain. That's what we're here for, is to catch a fish. I'll just sit here and look good.
Sorry, guys. Trying to end this here.